What's up, everybody? It's Stacy Morgenstern from Health Coach Institute here with Real Talk. Real Talk. Today we are talking about 5 life hacks to simplify everything and save your sanity, because we all have the same 24 hours in a day. And I want to share with you a few little tips and tricks, little things that make a big difference. And I'm so curious as we go through these, which one is going to be your favorite? I find it so hard to choose, but we'll get to that in a moment. So I'm going to start off with something really, really simple. It seems almost dumb that it's so simple, but this has saved me so many times from so much crazy. You ready? So this is life hack number 1. You see this little tool? This is called a carabiner. A carabiner. Guess what's on the end of it? My keys. I put my keys on it, and I'm going to demonstrate something for you. So you see, I'm walking around in the day. I don't have to dig around in my big purse, because especially if you're a woman and you're a mother, your purse sometimes is like a suitcase. It's like Mary Poppins in there. So how are you supposed to find your keys? This little thing, lifesaver. Just pop it on there like that. Boom. Always know where my keys are. Tip number 2. Oh, this is one of my absolute favorites. If you have kids, go ahead and chime on that you've got kids. Now, don't worry if you don't have kids. This tip is going to be a lifesaver for you too. If you find yourself with too many things to do and not enough time to do them, then go ahead and chime in that, yeah, time is an issue for you, or productivity is an issue for you, or chaotic kids is an issue for you. Go ahead and type in which one of those makes you Looney Tunes crazy sometimes. Oh yeah. So this is life hack number 2. You ready for this? I don't know if you guys can handle this. This is a game changer. It's called a flip timer. Yep, this one is oversized. It's giant. And guess how long it is? It's 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Now I'm going to tell you some things that I use this for, because this in itself, useless. It's how you use it that really makes the difference. So, first of all, look how fun that is. Isn't that fun? So life hack number 1, if you're a parent, the reason why this thing has saved my life is that dinner time with small kids, that can be a crazy time of chaos and nervous system freak out. If you have trouble getting your kid or kids to stay at the dinner table like I did, then this thing is going to change your life. At the beginning of dinner, what we do is we say, all right, which kid's turn is it to turn the timer, to flip the timer, and then one of the kids flips the timer. That's 15 minutes. And for the first 15 minutes of dinner, we all focus on the kids. And what we ask them is something that they're grateful for, or sometimes we'll change it up and we'll say, share a rosebud and thorn. So thorn is something crappy that happened that day. A rose is something great that happened that day. And a bud is something that they're hoping for, that they're wishing for would happen. And for that 15 minutes, we focus all of our attention on the kids. So there's no adult side conversations going on. And when the timer is up, the kids can get up, leave the dinner table, and go play. Of course, if they've eaten their dinner, and then they may be excused. And then that is the moment for the grown-ups to exhale and eat in peace. Amazing life hack. This was so sanity saving, because it used to be like, you know, Billy, eat your dinner, and Jane, please sit down, get in your seat, take another bite. And now it's just peaceful. So this, if you don't have kids, can be used for productivity as well. If you decide that you need to compose an email, if you decide that you're going to write your newsletter, if you need to do some cleanup in your house, set the timer, because the thing that happens is that we give ourselves infinite blocks of time to accomplish a single task, and we will always fill the time with the time allotted. So if you give yourself 15 minutes to clean your house, you will get it done in that time. The idea is to have a physical representation of what is going to happen next and to operate within that container. So I bought this on Amazon. It's an oversized hourglass timer, 15 minutes. Love it. Okay, you ready for life hack number 3? This one is so important. Be discriminant with your to-dos. Know your no and mean your yes. Know your no and mean your yes. So do you say yes to things that you don't want to do? Come on, let's out yourselves. Do you say no, yes to things that you don't want to do? Go ahead and write yes in the comments if you do that. And some of us say no to the things that we do want to do. And sometimes we think it's easier to say yes. So if somebody asks you to do something and you think, oh, it'll just be easier to say yes. But in reality, is it easier to say yes? If you think of all the times that you've said yes and you really wanted to say no, how did it feel? Chances are you'll resent the entire situation, right? When we don't respect our own needs, we give up our power, we give up our energy, our time, our peace of mind. So saying no when it's necessary is saying yes to yourself and yes to simplicity. Notice your whole system relax even when you say that word. It's like a song in the body. Simplicity. Doesn't that feel good? So when someone asks for a favor that you aren't able to help with, you can respectfully decline. It can take time to get used to saying no, but trust yourself that it can be done gracefully and it's well worth the effort. So go ahead and right now type into the chat something that you need to say no to today. What is something that you will say no to? And the simple way of doing that is, oh, I'm so sorry, my plate is full today. I'd love to help, my plate is full today. And not get into too much story, explaining it. We way over explain things. It just makes it worse. It just makes people feel bad. So just declare with a period at the end of the sentence, my plate is full today. No. If you want to live an enlivening, healthy life, you've got to be discriminant with your time, learning the art of saying no to everyone else's agenda for your time and allow yourself the opportunity to say yes to the things that truly matter to you. And if you think, I don't have time, so if you think you're busy, put busy in the chat, like, oh my gosh, I'm so busy, right? And this is what we all feel scarcity around is time. And we think like, I don't have time for everything. If you don't have time, you don't have priorities. And sometimes we think, well, I do have priorities, but there's just too many of them competing. Equally valued importance and competing with each other. Well, this is a time to then maybe ask for help and have someone help you look at your priorities and be more discriminant of what is getting your time. Is this urgent? Is it important? Does it have to be done now? And most things are really not urgent. So it's time to know your no's. I heard a quote from someone once that said, the bad news is time flies. The good news is you're the pilot. So know your no, which brings me to mean your yes. This is still life hack number 3. So Are you saying no to things that you wish you would say yes to? So declining an experience out of fear or stress, or feeling like you haven't earned the right to play yet. So, oh, I really wanted to go out on a walk with my girlfriends, but I'm going to say no to that because I have all this stuff to get done. And then you get the stuff done, but you're regretting not going outside. I've really been dealing with this one lately. I've been putting a whole bunch of things as top priority, as top importance, and putting my self-care and well-being to the bottom, and then regretting it later. So there are times when we need to say yes. There are times we need to say no, and there are times when we need to say yes. Yes to trying something new. Yes to doing something for your well-being, and letting some other things not get done. It's okay. Saying yes to new opportunities. There are things we all say no to in order to stay inside our comfort zone, and you know what these things are for yourself. But when the next opportunity arises that you are holding back your yes or afraid to say yes to, you should most likely do it. How many of you are current BHC students? Write BHC in the chat if you're a current BHC student. Yep, I'm seeing a whole bunch of people. So yeah, write BHC, that's become a health coach, BHC in the chat if you are a current BHC student. That's our 6-month professional training program to become a health coach. So we have a lot of people tuning in today who are BHC students, and notice whether or not you were afraid to say yes to that BHC training, but it was an opportunity that arose. You were afraid. You maybe hesitated for any number of reasons. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. Is this going to be what I need? Will I be able to make a living doing this? Will this be meaningful? Have I earned the right to invest in my own education and personal well-being, right? We can go through all those conversations. And then some of you maybe haven't said that yes yet, but some of you did. And now you're probably pretty happy about it. There's nothing worse than regretting a missed opportunity. Welcoming positive new things into your life makes it easier to deal with life's ebbs and flows. The more you are open to new things, the more insight you have on what adds pleasure and value to your life. And certainly to become a health coach training is one of those decisions for many of you. Okay, so life hack number 4. You ready for number 4? Number 4 is change your inputs. So just go ahead and I'm going to ask you to put in quotes what your inner critic tells you in a given day. So, I suck at this. I'm not blank enough. I'll never be as good as so-and-so. I should be further along than where I am. I'm not smart enough to learn this. I'm so behind. I'm a loser. I'm too fat. I'm too ugly. Right? Is whatever those negative thoughts are. I'll never feel free. I'll always be overwhelmed. I have so many things to worry about that actually haven't happened, but I worry about them anyway. Stress, overwhelm, confusion, indecision, and frustration. All perceptions reinforced by negative thoughts. Many of us don't realize it, but we frequently tell ourselves self-defeating messages that stabilize feelings of worry, anxiety, and stress. So if you want to change those beliefs, or if you want to change how you feel in a given day, elevate your self-talk. I like to call this mental hygiene. So Are you hard on yourself? Do you tell yourself you're a loser, you're not enough? Do you berate yourself for not doing more or being further than exactly where you are? Then it's time for life hack number 4, change your inputs. Clear the clutter of your mind and replace it with clarity and positivity. And the way that I do that is TED Talks, podcasts, audios of my favorite teachers. And when do I do it? All of the in-between times. Waiting in line at the grocery store, commute in my car, in the morning while I'm getting dressed and getting ready. Take little chunks of time, load up your phone or your device, and have these ready so you can just push play and inundate your thoughts with positivity. It sounds cliche, but guess what? This is what has saved my sanity over and over again from that downward spiral. Do I have worries and fears and anxieties? Absolutely. I'm a human being in a chaotic culture. So this has made all the difference, is to change my perspective, do a little mental hygiene, and change those inputs. One of the things that BHC students tell me is that they put our lessons into their phone so they can listen while they're doing other things, while they're cooking, folding the laundry, or when they wake up in the morning, when you've got 5 minutes in the bathroom, right? It doesn't have to be an hour. It's not that. It's just little doses. Okay, life hack number 5. How's this going so far? I'm so curious which ones are going to be your favorite. But let me take you to number 5 while we ponder that, and then I'll give a recap. So number 5 is focus. I had a teacher once who said, an hour of planning saves you 10. Now, I learned this process from Tim Ferriss, best-selling author, and actually I'm going to share a throne reading from him today. But I want to share his 8-step process for maximizing focus and efficiency. In other words, doing the right things. It's kind of funny that it's an 8-step process to simplify your life, like it's a misnomer, right? Anyway, whatever. So Tim Ferriss, this is his process. It's step 1, wake up at least an hour before you have to be at a computer screen. He says email is the mind killer. Why? Because then you're automatically getting on someone else's agenda for your time. So waking up at least 1 hour before you have to be at a computer screen, not opening the computer. Step 2 is make a cup of tea or your morning beverage. That's my favorite time of day, is the morning, and sit down with a pen and paper. That's step 2. Step 3, write down the 3 to 5 things and no more. 3 to 5. How many? 3 to 5 that are making you most anxious and uncomfortable. So there are often things that have been, what's the words, like kicking the can down the road, things that have been punted from one day's to-do list to the next, to the next, to the next, and so on. And then you've got this accumulation. So usually these are the things that would be beneficial for us, and yet they make us uncomfortable. Maybe there's some chance of rejection or conflict. It could be a difficult conversation or something that we've never done before, so we don't have confidence, we're unsure. So write down those 3 to 5 things that are making you most anxious or uncomfortable. Now, step 4 is for each item, ask yourself, if this were the only thing I accomplished today, would I be satisfied with my day? If this were the only thing I accomplished today, would I be satisfied with my day? That's the first question. The second question is, will moving this forward Make all the other to-dos unimportant or easier to knock off later. Well, moving this forward, make all the other to-dos unimportant or easier to knock off later. His step 5 is look at the items you've answered yes to for at least one of these questions. And then step 6 is to block out time, 1, 2, 3 hours, to focus on one of them for today. And let the rest of the urgent but less important stuff slide. It will be there tomorrow. This is, if you study billionaires, millionaires, successful people, the one thing that they have in common, like Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Richard Branson, so many, Oprah, like basically across the board, the common denominator that they say leads them to success is simplify and focus. That focus word. It's not the F word that we all have in common. It's the other F word. Focus. Yes. One thing until it's complete. It's that mind going scattering in a million different directions and trying to get everything done that produces dissatisfaction, mediocrity, disappointment, right? And then this feeling of overwhelm, too much all at once. That's what overwhelm is, too much all at once. And it makes us feel like we're constantly screwed. You think that you're getting things done, but you're really not really. So blocking time, focusing on one thing for today. Step 7 is to be clear. It really is one thing for today. So Tim added an extra step to be absolutely clear that this is a single block of time to focus on that one thing. It's not cobbling together 10 minutes here and there to add up to an hour or 2 hours of focus. It is actually sitting down for that chunk of time. And step 8 is that if you get distracted or start procrastinating, don't freak out and downward spiral and go back to that negative self-talk. Just gently come back to your one to do. And this is how really productive people create big outcomes despite a never-ending impulse to procrastinate, nap, or otherwise fritter our days away with stuff that doesn't really matter. If you have 10 important things to do in a day, it's 100% certain that nothing important will get done that day. On the other hand, if you get that one must-do item and do it well, it's a lot of sanity saving in that, a lot of contentedness, relaxation, and you'll find that the other things not getting done was okay. Something else that Tim Ferriss says is that being busy is a form of laziness. Lazy thinking and indiscriminate action. I love that. I put it on a Post-it note and hang it up on my wall by my desk. Being busy is a form of laziness. It's lazy thinking and indiscriminate action. And that being busy is most often used as a guise for avoiding the few critically important but uncomfortable actions. Remember, outside your comfort zone is where the magic happens. Which brings me to today's throne reading, which is Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss. And what he did was he did a podcast for maybe it was 2 years or 3 years. And then he basically just synthesized the podcast into a book. So it is a chapter book. Each chapter is 2 or 3 short pages of the best practices of the world's millionaires and billionaires and most successful, most productive people. So I love that book. It's pretty cool. It's a fat book. It's like that. It's really, really big. Get it on Amazon. And I love it because I love books that are a short read that I can read in the bathroom on the throne, because you know how that is. It's one of my favorite places. I have an announcement. Well, first of all, before I get to my special announcement, I'm so curious which one of these hacks is your favorite. Life hack number 1 was the carabiner for your keys, as you see here on my purse. Never lose your keys. Definitely a sanity saver. Life hack number 2 was flip timer, a physical representation of what's going to happen next to use at the dinner table with your kids, or to use when you are going to do a task that might take you an indefinitely long period of time, but could be done in 15 minutes. Life hack number 3 is to be discriminant with your to-dos. So know your no and mean your yes. Life hack number 4 is to change your inputs. Change your inputs. And life hack number 5 is to focus. An hour of planning saves you 10. So which one of these is your favorite? Go ahead and post in the chat which one is your favorite. And have an announcement for you that Real Talk is changing its time. So be on the lookout on our Health Coach Institute Facebook page for Real Talk's new time. It will still happen every Thursday. It's just going to happen a little bit later. So hopefully that will be a time that you can join me live, because I love these provocative discussions. And lastly, what I want to leave you with is to book your seat for HCI Live yet. Have you booked your seat? Who's coming to HCI Live in the fall? We've got a 3-day live event to get off your computer and come be with Carrie and myself and some of our amazing guest teachers in person. People come from all over the world. This is my favorite time of year is HCI Live. The content we cover at HCI Live is worth several $1,000, but guess what? If you're a BHC student, you won't pay that extra cost, because we've already gifted you tickets so you can advance your coaching practice, learn some master's level coaching sequences, participate in some master's level skills labs. So type HCI Live if you're coming to HCI Live. You can also bring a friend or your spouse or a colleague. They will also get a lot out of this experience as well. And the coaching sequences that you learn at HCI Live are so powerful. Your confidence as a coach will soar after these 3 days. If we're talking about life hacks that save your sanity and simplify your life, or have you feel good, have you be that vibrant, inspired, alive being that you know you are when you take off the stress armor, these 3 days are like an IV dose of that. It's a rock concert of possibilities. It's not just fun. We like to call it the mullet. It's all business in the front and party in the back. So if you go to hcilive.com, you'll catch some footage of our last event, and that will also tell you how to reserve your seat for our upcoming event in the fall, hcilive.com. Reserve your seat sooner rather than later, because tickets do go fast. You'll get to meet us. You'll get to meet your success coaches. You get to hang out with your tribe. Your confidence as a coach will soar after these 3 days. You might even shock yourself. It really is putting your personal growth on warp speed, getting out of ruts. So if you've been feeling crazy lately because you just got too much to do and not enough time, or you're doing too much and not enough seems to be happening, then you got to come to HCI Live, because you get out of time and space. It just changes your whole frame of reference. Plus, it's a whole lot of fun. So do whatever you need to do to get yourself there so you can squeeze every drop from what we've got designed for you. Learn more about HCI Live and book your seat by going to hcilive.com. And stay tuned, because Real Talk is coming at you next week at a whole new time. So thanks for tuning in. If you like it, give it a like up top, share it, or tag your friends and family who could use some life hacks. And I'll see you next week in Real Talk.